but there are other reptiles here that have adapted to take advantage of the abundant exposure of the open lands. Where the hot summer sun is a persecution to others, it is a source of life and mobility for the lizards of the Sunfelt. They are cold-blooded, so they need to bask in the sun to regulate their body temperature. But this can be as much a burden as it is a blessing, especially in the Sunfelt. Relying on the sun's heat means this Cape-girdled lizard has to leave itself exposed in plain view. The boulders that the lizard depends on for basking are the ideal hunting ground for a rock kestrel. But these rocks are also the main defense of the Sunfelt's reptiles. Their solace is temporary. Soon they must leave again to find warmth and food. And so they rely on both the shelter of the rock crevices and on the open exposure of the surface. A curious double bind that sees these small reptiles constantly maneuvering around the boulders of the Sunfelt. One species seems to have solved this dilemma in an interesting way. Armadillo girdled lizards have a heavily armored outer tail and body, but their soft underbellies are vulnerable. And they have dealt with this in an intriguing fashion. By biting their tails, the lizards ensure that they don't leave their vulnerable sections exposed. And they have another tactic to protect themselves from the predators of the Sunfelt. Armadillo girdled lizards aggregate in large groups. They have sentries manning multiple posts, facing all directions. If a threat comes from the sky or the ground, it will be seen by one of the many lizards on watch. They wait underneath the protection of overhanging rocks, only leaving to bask or to eat. Within such large groups, there are hierarchies. And when food is limited, only the most dominant get to enjoy it. Socializing among lizards is not a common phenomenon, but suitable cover is limited. So armadillo girdled lizards join together to find food, shelter from the elements, and evade predators. Refuge is not easy to come across in the Sunfelt. Only the hardiest vegetation can survive this difficult terrain. This is Namaqualand sand Fynbos. It occupies 110,000 hectares of the Sunfelt. It's the driest of all Fynbos types. In some areas, it manages to live with an meager average rainfall of less than 100 millimeters per year. So, like all that live here, it has ingenious ways to survive the harshness of its habitat. As the Benguela current surges along the coast, it draws frigid, deep water to the surface. When the prevailing winds blow onshore from farther out to sea, they carry warm air laden with moisture. The warm moisture collides with the cold surface water, giving rise to thick fog. Here, the ocean feeds the land. mists and winds are present for at least 120 nights of the year. And they are a gift to the resident plants. It's estimated that the moisture delivered by the Sunfelt fog can be up to 3 times as much as the amount of its rainfall. This is where the scarcity of the land and the richness of the ocean meet. Because of this, the plants have developed to make the most of their main source of nourishment. The roots of many species in the habitat have numerous fine divisions just below the earth. These help maximize the surface area of the water intake. Within these conditions, an intriguing plant flourishes among the Fynbos. The Euphorbia caput-medusae. So named because of its long tentacles, emerging like the serpents on the head of the mythological Greek figure. It survives the unremitting habitat by remaining partly underground, leaving only its branches exposed. And there's a creature that has an unexpected relationship with these serpentine spires. The rough-scaled girdled lizard is one of the few members of its kind that doesn't hide between the rocks. Its head and body are not flattened like many of the other girdled lizards. This reflects its preference for living away from boulders. It has another way to shelter from the Sunfelt's elements and predators. The plant protects the reptiles in the way that rocks protect the other girdled lizards. When under threat from a predator, it can lose itself within the labyrinthine stems. And it provides another important service. Because invertebrates also shelter here, the lizards do not need to move far to get their food. They are gifted a complimentary room service for their tenure. But there aren't many euphorbias that can provide adequate protection. So competition for the ones that do is fierce.